It's 6 p.m. in Bamenda, Chieftain of the Northwest region. Same time right here in Akwa Douala. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. First, our major story. The Directorate of Taxation release informs Cameroonians that they have to the 2nd of December 2024 to declare their income so their personal income tax can be deducted. He warns that failure to meet up with the deadline will lead to several inconveniences. Who are those concerned? How much will be deducted from their salaries? How will this personal income tax affect Cameroonians, especially low-income earners? That is what we'll be explaining in the course of this newscast. That is our major story tonight. Stay with us for details and more. Thank you so much for always choosing Equinoxe television. For presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. Cameroon truck drivers plying the Douala-Bangui corridor have addressed a correspondence to the Prime Minister threatening to go on strike if their preoccupations are not attended to. They are triggered by extortions in the Central African Republic and most especially attacks in which recently led to the killing of a Cameroonian truck driver by rebels. All these are a result of the non-respect of terms and convention of the government of Cameroon and that of Central African Republic. We have details with Innocent Aze.
Truck drivers plying the Douala-Bangui corridor are threatening to go on strike if their preoccupations are not attended to by Cameroon's Prime Minister within a period of 8 days. Their grievances stem from the non-respect of terms of the convention signed between the government of Cameroon and that of Central African Republic for the protection of truck drivers from both countries plying the corridor.
Ce dont nous demandons actuellement au Premier ministre dans
We demand strict respect of the convention on free movement of people and goods, considerable reduction of multiple control posts between Tantonia and the local stretch of roads in the Central African Republic, return of assistant drivers.
Le motoboy, c'est l'aide conducteur.
A major issue triggering this move is the insecurity of Cameroonian truck drivers in the Central African Republic, threatened and attacked by rebels, resulting to the killing of a Cameroonian truck driver recently.
L'ouverture.
We demand for the opening of an investigation on the tragic killing of a Cameroonian truck driver in the Central African Republic, indemnification to victims attacked,
Et indemnisation des victimes, puisque ce n'est pas le seul cas.
These drivers disclose they are not at all covered by the terms of the convention, exposing them to extortions and insecurity in the Central African Republic.
C'est-à-dire le Cameroun a fait son effort.
The Cameroon government is playing its part, but those in the Central African Republic are not. We are tortured in all forms, including forceful payments of diverse levies, security fee amounting to 50,000 francs CFA per driver. But we are not escorted by the military in the Central African Republic. Cameroonian truck drivers are allowed to be killed by rebels. It is recurrent and we deplore this.
Ce n'est que le chauffeur camerounais qu'on enlève.
Within a month, about 2 Cameroonian truck drivers have been killed by rebels and several others injured in attacks. Reason why they rise up for justice and for revision and respect of the convention terms by both governments.
And these Cameroonian truck drivers are hoping that their plight will be taken into consideration by the government as fast as possible. Away from that, traditional custodians of Gaundare in the Adamawa region are calling on the government to stop the influx of people settling at the foot of Mount Gaundare. According to them, the area, which is a touristic site, is now being used as habitation. Ese Luciliengu has more.
The foot of Mount Gaundare in the Adamawa region is now a bustling habitation site for many, despite the risks involved.
Les
Inhabitants who construct houses at the foot of the mountain should be aware of the dangers. At any time, a landslide can occur, like the disaster we saw at the Chancliffe. Faced with this danger, traditional authorities are urging the government to take action by evacuating those settled in the area.
à nos grands, à nos populaires.
We plead with authorities to help us preserve this mountain because it's a significant danger. One day, a landslide can occur.
Danger dans notre ville de Ngaoundéré.
Existing since the year 1820, the gigantic mountain attracts tourists who come to explore its unique volcanic formation and beauty.
Avant la venue du parcours Vite à la montagne était le lieu d'attraction sportif le plus visé de la ville.
There are fears that in the years to come, the cultural significance might disappear if nothing is done to stop the influx of people settling at the foot of the mountain.
On voulait toujours voir ça et nos enfants et ceux qui sont petits.
Located in the heart of Ngaoundéré, the mountain is known for its cultural, environmental, economic, and geological contributions to the region.
Asia Luciliengo reporting there. In a bid to strengthen the operational military partnership and reinforce security at the borders of the Gulf of Guinea, the Minister Delegate in charge of Defense, Joseph Petit Asomo, brought together stakeholders for them to brainstorm and come up with concrete ideas that will enable them fight against maritime piracy. Details with Cedric Chakutu.
Again, the question of security in the Gulf of Guinea, an area of 11,258 miles, is worrying the armed forces of this zone in its sector D.
La proposition que vous avez faite.
The proposal that you made for the holding of a conference by Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the states of the Zone D highlights the desire of our states to strengthen the operational military partnership to fight against insecurity. In the face of the threat, a first response has been provided by Cameroon, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, Sao Tome and Principe through the military post of Setmar.
Cette opération maritime
This maritime operation, under the authority of the General or Inter-Armed Chiefs of Staff, has made it possible through the permanent commitment of a community naval group.
De manière significative les actes de piraterie et de brigandage maritime.
Nevertheless, more vigilance has been called for in the face of a certain resurgence of maritime piracy.
Là on assiste comme à une relative.
This meeting will also permit us to fight against piracy in our countries.
Parfois par des attaques de navires qui croisent dans la zone D.
It goes without saying that the military actors in Zone D of the Gulf of Guinea will also have a good response.
Now to something else. As momentum gathers around next year's presidential elections, key stakeholders are questioning the role of Elections Cameroon, the organizing body, in undertaking efforts to clear a way for fair, transparent and credible elections. Babla Jonathan tells us more in the following report.
For several years, opposition and civil society leaders have been raising concerns about undemocratic practices watering down the credibility of elections in Cameroon. Elections organizing body Elections Cameroon, ELECAM, has been spearheading efforts to ensure free, fair, transparent and credible elections.
We want to promote inclusiveness, to have all stakeholders in the process, all voters in the process, to ensure the compliance with the electoral law by all stakeholders in the purpose of guaranteeing regularity, impartiality, free and transparent election for credible results.
This is the purpose of the consultative platform between ELECAM and other stakeholders of the electoral process launched in August 2023. Ahead of the 2025 presidential election and the municipal and legislative elections in 2026, second edition of the Come Together of Election Stakeholders scheduled for November 26 will focus on peaceful electoral dialogue as a pillar of democratic governance. Decisions from the stakeholders are thus expected to contribute to achieve this objective.
From these recommendations, find reasons to improve the participation of women, youths, minorities, and people living with disabilities. finding of measures to stop fake news concerning elections, hatred speech, and to render the processes very smooth.
In time, critics question what has been done with recommendations from previous consultation meetings.
Elections Cameroon or Electoral Board is not the good door for the enhancement of the process, because the law have limited our attributions and we cannot go beyond. We will give our opinion or make some suggestions on any election-related instrument or draft submitted to us.
Member of the Electoral Board of Elections Cameroon underscores the point that achieving credible elections also depends on the effective and efficient participation of all stakeholders. Thus, need to raise awareness, build the capacity of key stakeholders.
Babile Jonathan reporting there. Now to our sports page. The Cameroon Champions Trophy will be put up for grasp this weekend as the winner of the League One Championship, Victoria United, challenges the column of the Gere Lobo at the Bapile Stadium this Sunday. Elsewhere, the men's military football team of Cameroon have secured a final ticket against Algeria at the ongoing military games. Smaji Kangable with our weekend sports package.
The best club of the current football season in Cameroon will be known this weekend as the Champions Trophy will be put out for challenge. On one side, Colombo of Gere Lobo, who recently won the Cameroon Cup, will challenge Victoria United, who are winners of the Elite One League. If Colombo of Gere Lobo will play without club's main trainer, Richard Towa, who is sick, it will be the first test for Equatorial Guinean tactician on the bench of Victoria United, Esono Merenko, who is trying a new coaching experience in Cameroon. The Champions Trophy will be played at the Mbapelepe Stadium, which is already set for the encounter this Sunday. On a related story, the Elite One Championship for the 2024-25 football season has been set for December 7th, 2024 to end on June 1, 2025. In women's football, all 12 clubs to participate in the Women's First Division Championship have received materials that will enable them have a better season. The materials, which include 600 jerseys, 50 per club, 240 balls, 50 per club, 300 sport bags, 25 per club, and 300 traveling bags, 25 per club, were handed in a ceremony that took place at the Fecafoot Head's office in the presence of the first Vice President, Celine Eko. For this football season, the league will have a new logo out of Cameroon. The military men's football team of Cameroon will challenge that of Algeria at the final of the African Military Games. The military team of Cameroon defeated host Nigeria 1-0 in one of the semi-finals. Meanwhile, Algeria walked over Equatorial Guinea 2-0 in the other semi-final clash. Earlier on Friday, the military women's basketball team humbled host Nigeria by 77 to 33 points. The second edition of the African Military Games is taking place in Abuja, Nigeria.
Jikan Gable, as sportsman, ending this first part of the news. Talking Point is up next. My guest tonight is an economist. He's known as Edmond Kwate, and we'll be looking at the impact of the recent release published by the Directorate of Taxation. Good evening, Edmond. It's a pleasure having you Talking Point tonight.
Good evening, Immaculate, and good evening to all your televiewers. Thanks for inviting me today.
Edmond Kwate, the Directorate of Taxation, in a release, informs Cameroonians that they have till the 2nd of December 2024 to declare their income so their personal income tax can be deducted. Can you explain to us what this tax is all about? Who are those concerned?
Well, personal income tax is not a new tax, but it used to be applied on our parents long ago. and it's been replaced by the value-added tax. You know, the tax is dynamic. What is it? The idea of this tax is that everybody, I mean all the citizens, you know, be it an economic agent or not, they understand that if you are already a physical guy, if you are moving up and down, you're supposed to use, I mean, the facilities built by the state, built by the government, built by the state, and you're supposed to contribute to that. So if already you are moving on the road, you are traveling using the road that has been constructed by the tax of all the citizens, then you're supposed to contribute. And if you are, like, for instance, moving overnight, then you are using the public light, then you're supposed to contribute also to that. So it comes from the idea that everybody, be it an economic agent or not, be it somebody who is in an activity or not, either you are I mean, you are working, you are having a job or not, or you are involved in an activity or not, at the end of the day, they understand that you are using the facilities built, constructed with by the government, so you have to contribute. That's why they put this type of tax. But it's been long ago. It's been long ago that this has been cancelled. This has been, replaced by the value-added tax. Now they understand that, I mean, if you got into a transaction, then you add a value to the transaction, then you have to deduct that a part to give to the, to contribute. Now, I think the IMF decided to bring back this type of tax so that everybody will now pay a tax. So that's where the idea came from.
That this tax will affect almost all Cameroonians. How is the said tax calculated?
Well, it is calculated when you declare your revenue, you declare what you gain. You first declare your activity, what type of activity you are into, and then you declare your annual revenue. And then there is you pay a certain percentage of your annual revenue. If you are, let's say, you don't have a job, you are unemployed, and you got no activity, then you declare nil. And if you declare nil, then there is a lump sum, you know, that you have to pay. I think if you declare nil, then you got to pay like 16,000 CFA francs.
Let's look at this example. Someone who is paid the sum of 100,000 francs monthly. How will this tax be deducted from their income?
Well, I think for those who are workers, I don't know how this debate finally ended, but I think when they came out with the tax, I think there was a debate to know if the civil servants or those who are having a salary at the end of the month, they are subject to this tax. And then there was a debate, because normally if you are earning a salary, it means you are already imposed one way or another, because there are already some taxes deducted from your salary. And then the debate was going on, and normally those who are earning salary, they are not supposed to pay this tax anymore, because, like I said, they are already there's already a tax deducted from their salary. So I don't know how this debate ended finally, if they're still subject to it or they are out of it. But if, let's say, for instance, if you are earning like 100, like you said, if your income is like 100,000, I think there's a certain percentage that you got to pay. I think it's 2 point something that you got to pay at the end of the day. You declare it, and then when you go to the site of the taxation office, you go to their website, then you register, and then they will indicate the amount that you're going to pay.
What are some of the documents Cameroonians need to compile for the said procedure?
No, there is no document that you need to compile. I think you go to the site, you declare. It's kind of declaration. You declare what you got. You go to the site, you fill up you fill. You will declare your activity, the sector of your activity, and then from there, there will be a kind of there will be kind of line that you get to fill, and then gradually you will have to fill the information that are required, and then at the end of the day it will generate the amount that you have to pay.
Deadline was given. What if those who are concerned don't declare their income before the deadline given? What will happen to them?
If you do not declare, if you do not pay, and then I think there are some consequences. There are many services that you will not be able to have. For instance, if you do not declare, I think you will not be able to have to receive a visa to travel out. Then you will not be able to receive the compliance document proving that you have paid your taxes. There are many things that you will not be able to do if you do not pay. There are many things that you will not be able to do. For instance, obtaining a visa will be a problem. Paying, for instance, having you will not be able to, if you have a house, for instance, you will not be able to have a meter for electricity or for water. You will not be able to do that. You will not be able to do a lot of things. There are a lot of things that you cannot do if at all you do not declare. This is third time actually that they are postponing, because when the Minister of Finance first came out with this tax, he gave like 2 months, and then they realized that it was too short for people to declare, because we have more than 18 million Cameroonians that are involved, that are concerned by this particular tax. So it was the period was a bit short. So they gave up. They had to postpone up to the 30th of December of 2024 for everybody, to give the possibility to everybody to actually declare. So I think there are many consequences for those who will not be able to declare by the deadline given by the Minister of Finance.
From an economist point of view, how will this personal income tax possibly affect the population? Especially, I want us to focus on low-income earners in this country.
That's the real concern when it comes to IMF. That's why I said IMF is like a medical doctor. If you do not want to go to the hospital, then do everything possible to avoid diseases. So when IMF arrived, they got no concern with the life of Cameroonians. It's not a development bank. It's not an investment bank. They are not concerned by what the life of Cameroonians looks like. No, it's none of their concern. Are Cameroonians feeling themselves well? Are they well catered in the hospital? Are they going to best school? That is none of the concern. That's the concern of Cameroon government. It's none of their concern. So they don't look into that. It's none of their concern. So the real actor, the real problem here is our government. Why do we always have to find ourselves in difficult situations with the IMF? We've been in a very tough program with the IMF for the past 20 years, and that ended in 2006. So finally, we thought we came out of a very sad situation. No, just recently in 2016, we had to go back, into the same trouble with the IMF, and these are the consequences. The IMF will impose a lot of things on Cameroon. Recently, you saw what happened with the petrol. IMF had to impose on the government to quit the subsidies they were making on the petrol, and the price has to increase. And in February, if I'm not wrong, in February we might have the same problem again, because IMF is saying no, there will be no subvention on the petrol anymore. They want to quit 100% subvention on the petrol. So it means if we don't really care much, then in February 2025, then they might increase the price of fuel again at the pump. So these are the type of things we're going to suffer with the IMF. There is none of their concern if they have to sell a liter of fuel at 1,500, 1,300. It's none of their concern. As long as this is going to help them to collect the money they need to pay the debts of Cameroon, it is okay by them. It's okay by them. So that is the problem. It's up to the government to avoid taking our country into a situation whereby we'll have to find it tough with the IMF.
Now, from your explanation, the International Monetary Fund is supposed to be solely blamed for these changes. But then, can the government of Cameroon not inform IMF that maybe the population are going through a lot of hard times, are going through hardship, and so it's not necessary for this personal income tax to be added? And also, we all know that we pay income and taxes when paying water bills, when paying electricity bills. Equally, when paying products, buying products on the markets, we have taxes on them. Even those who want to withdraw money from banks, maybe from abroad, we pay taxes. Is that not too much for Cameroonians?
You are welcome, madam.
Sorry for that network. That's where we'll put an end to today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your keen attention. Stay in the company of Serge-Alain Otto with his guests at exactly 7 p.m. You'll be having Equinoxe Soir. Bye-bye for now. Have a wonderful weekend.